Hope everybody's having a blessed day, man. Hey, man, we're at Monday, man. It is Yom Day 2. And, man, I want to talk to you about, using what you have and making it stretch, especially in the last days. Man, I'm going to eat a little lunch while I'm doing this live and, just talk to some things talk to you, amongst Israel in righteousness about being content with what you have and, using it to continue to produce fruit and things like that. So this past week, man, I got my outdoor garden, last year I was able to build the greenhouse, learn how to do all that, and this year I'm going to revamp it. But I said going into this growing season, coming out of the dead season, man, I was going to grow a lot more outside because we didn't produce enough food last year. We could have had more. Just learning better uses of when we harvest things like bell peppers, we get in there, and even if we're not going to cook them right away, we get in there and chop them down and freeze them. Same thing with a lot of the stuff that we produce, just refining it. But for my garden bed, they have this tarp, and it's like heavy duty gardening fabric, and it's like woven together. It's not the cheap stuff, and this stuff is like I want to see it say at Lowe's it was about $80 for a 100-foot roll, and then you had some stuff online from these brand specific or niche specific places, and there's upwards of $140. And I said, man, do I really want to spend, the amount of money just on this layout? And then I had probably about 30 feet of greenhouse plastic that still could be used, and I wasn't going to have another use for it because going forward this year, man, I'm not going to use greenhouse plastic because that Oklahoma wind is too strong. I'm going to use those PVC corrugated panels when they go on sale. That's what I'm saving towards. But, man, I decided to go with the greenhouse plastic that I got from Lowe's, and I bought a 100-foot roll of it and decided to go with that. And the testimony is by using what I have, I was able to get the job done. Was able to expand our growing plot a lot further without breaking the bank. And in this daytime and hour, man, there's a lot of stuff out here on the market that's just geared towards you buying it, and then, on to the next year because there's a new craze. And as I get older and in righteousness, man, I'm learning, man, I'm going to use what I got. I'm going to use what I got and I'm going to make it stretch. Using what I have and making it stretch, and then give the Most High all the glory for it. Man, I'm sitting up here putting this lettuce on a roast beef sandwich. I brought it from home, and that's part of it too, man. I said, man, you know what? I'm going to do a better job at packing my lunch because, man, we work hard, and I'll tell you, in my household, man, it ain't nothing. This was probably the better Sam's Club haul because it didn't spend as much. I want to say this past weekend went and spent about $500-600 in Sam's Club, and there's months before, man, where that Sam's was like $1,000. But this time, man, I looked at it and said, hey, man, we're gonna get more of these potatoes, things that we haven't mastered growing yet, but are still trying to grow. I said, this go around, man, we're going to get more of the stuff that is going to fill your belly longer than a lot of these snacks. And it definitely, when we hit the checkout, it definitely showed. By getting the stuff that's always stood the test of time, man, you're going to get further with it. You know, I was recently, within the past 2 months, building my goat house, and get this sandwich ready. Mm. I was building a goat house, and I was doing frame walls. Shalom, shalom. Man, I was doing the walls, and I was doing. It was my first time doing framed walls and going 16 inches on center. Man, no matter how many videos I kept watching trying to learn, people were like, man, you need a nail gun. You need a nail gun, whether it's cordless or it's an air compressor. I don't doubt that a nail gun, cordless or an air compressor would have made the job easier. But I said, man, I got a lot of other priorities that are more urgent and take precedence. So when I went to Lowe's, looked online, I started pricing these cordless electric nail guns. The gun themselves, $400. Then you gotta buy an extra battery if you're gonna use it and be using it back to back, hours on hours, running a lot of nails. I said, man, by the time I buy the nails, by the time I buy the gun, the battery, man, I'm already out of $650. So these is large batteries. Then I went to the cordless, the air compressor. Man, that one was a little bit cheaper, but it still came in getting a quality nail gun, getting the hose kit to go with the compressor, getting the compressor, and then the nails to run in the nail gun. Man, it still came out to be like five something. So I said, man, you know what? Yeah, I'm not ready to. Definitely don't want to do that because we got other stuff that we got plans. So I started to think, man. I said, man, I got two good hammers. I got a box of nails at the house, and yeah, I tell you, man, I made do with what I had. I had them nails, I had that hammer, I had some screws, and my impact driver, and got it done. You know, probably didn't go as fast as it could have gone, but I got the job done. You know, and that's what this thing is about. Being content with what you have. And I can understand when you see people operate out of a spirit of covetousness and jealousy of what other people have, man, it's very hard to show gratitude about the things that you have. You know, I tell my wife all the time, I don't want to buy another TV until this TV goes out. Because I realized, you know, maybe about 6.5 years ago, I got my TV in our living room about 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old. I realized prior to that, man, I got in a vicious cycle of consumerism, and everything that every time a new TV would come out, Black Friday, you know, Labor Day sales, and it was a new craze. It's 5 inches bigger than the last one. Man, I didn't realize that somebody is running a business knowing that you're not going to be able to keep all this stuff in one house, so they'll let you donate it and then they'll sell it. I said, dang, I'm giving my hard-earned money away, and somebody is making a living off of free goods that other people get rid of. You know, if you go to Goodwill, if you go to thrift places after Black Friday, man, you're gonna find some amazing stuff, especially on Craigslist, Let Go, Facebook Marketplace. Is because people are in a cycle of constantly buying stuff that they don't need, and some people will come from the angle of, well, you got to get with the times. Man, when it comes to like a TV, we can pull, you know, TV being 7 years old, we can pull Netflix, we can pull all the local apps that people use, Now they got TV 80 inches. Back when I got that 55-inch TV, 55-inch TV was a decent sized TV. Maurice Devil said, I used to work at Goodwill, and man, you will be surprised. Hey, you ain't lying. I'm thankful, man, because when I first met my wife, man, my wife was an avid thrift store and Goodwill shopper. She wasn't a hoarder, but she had the mindset of, why I'm going to pay all this money for name brand stuff when people being in a cycle of buying all this stuff are going to donate it to Goodwill, bags of it. So every time I know we travel somewhere, my wife always wants to go to the Goodwill, and especially when we go to like nice places where there's wealthy people go to the Goodwill because they're giving away some nice name brand stuff, and she's getting it for $1, $2, $3, But getting multiple uses out of your stuff, you got that handheld can opener has never failed anybody. It's only like certain, and they make orthopedic can openers. You see what I'm saying? Just because everybody else around you is adapting to all this technology doesn't mean you have to. You might even want to be mindful of adopting all this technology because, man, I pulled Alexa I lawfully put Alexa out. Alexa had to go. All of this technology was causing more confusion. Alexa was talking to the kids. Hey, my youngest son would ask Alexa, and Alexa would be like, yeah, I think you should go to the amusement park. I'd be like, Alexa, he ain't got no money. The money coming from the parents, Man, when it comes to looking at the market right now, you got cars, man. You driving by the car lots, and you seeing all these cars. And for a simple pickup truck now, some of these places are charging almost $80,000-$90,000 for like a base entry level pickup truck. I'll tell you, that guy, when you go to Lowe's and you see a guy in like a 30-year-old pickup truck or a 20-year-old pickup truck and it looks raggedy, man, that guy's probably better off than everybody else in there because that truck don't own him, he owns the truck. Free and clear. Free and clear. You got to think about it, man. I realized in the being in the military, man, the constant cycle. You got job security, so what do? You consistently throw money away. Every time people coming back off of deployment, getting a new car. Wasn't nothing wrong with the old one. And the car place is going to give you trade-in value for your car and then want you to go in debt on this new car. They don't give a dang if you upside down or not. When your last car was working, man, that newness wears off. The newness wears off on everything. I would say the only thing that the newness doesn't wear off on is righteousness. It's righteousness. But everything else, that wow moment of wow, man, man, give it a week. Especially with kids, give it a week. That video game that you bought them last month, they'll forget. Oh, you bought me a game? Man, you have people that are saying what I'm saying that have operated like this from youth up. Their parents didn't give them the latest and the greatest. They didn't put this mindset in them. Well, that's 5 years old and it's time to upgrade. You got kids that are raised where their parents can go get them a used toy and they'll be ecstatic for it. Why? Because that's all they've ever known. But this cycle of using what you have is harder if you've been experienced or introduced to heavy consumerism. You start trying to cut back and do all this, and now you see that spirit of covetousness really come out. Man, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when you are in debt, when you're working, 20, 30 years to pretty much lease nice stuff, because you never really own anything if you're just constantly giving it away, is worthless. It's worthless. Man, when I was younger, I had a group of friends, group of guys, man. It was always about the latest and the greatest car. And I tried that mess one time. I was like, man, this ain't for me. I'm wondering how, man, we the same rank, both get the same thing. What's really going on? How are you out partying all of this? Come to find out, man, people partying on credit card. And I said, man, this ain't for me. This is not for me. You got to think, man, I'm sitting here doing this live. And like I said, man, I had to do a lot better in going forward, and just gratitude and being content with what you have. Thankful that the Most High Yah allowed me to be able to go to the grocery store, get groceries or the necessities that we need for our family while we're learning to grow more food in masses. Thankful. 5, 6 years ago, man, I would have been like, man, I'm about to go to Burger King, I'm about to go to Popeyes, I'm about to go to Panda Express. And you think about that, man, that's $10, $12 each time you do that. Easily, if you're somebody that wants to eat out for lunch, hit the vending machine at work, that could easily be $60 to $100. Very easily. And you won't even realize it. But I said, man, I could cut down on food spoilage, cut down on food spoilage by just simply packing on lunch of things that are about to go bad, or we generally don't eat all of it. So I say about packing my lunch, I'll save money and cut down on food expense. So I tell you, man, whatever the Most High Yah has blessed you with, in the last days, figure out a way to make it go further. Figure out a way to make it go further, to make it stretch. Because what you don't want to do is be running out here talking about the Most High Yah blessed you, and only thing you've acquired is debt. And he tells you that the borrower is a slave to a lender. Man, I'm starting to take a closer look at, oftentimes people will be operating in vain and then try to give the Most High glory for something that he told you not to do. When it comes to housing, somebody will go out and finance $500,000 house just because they got approved for it. And then you start to realize it's in vain because you might see a construction crew break ground on it, X, Y, and Z. But then the person that financed it will come and tell you, well, we built that house. And it's like, where is the truth in that? You financed it so somebody else could build it. And then if the word says the borrower is a slave to the lender, was that the Most High Yah's will for you to go into that debt? Or was his will actually in the book? And you got to think, man, I'm going to stand with what's in the book and lean on that. Man, you think about a lot of these places where you shop, where you frequent. Man, every time you get to the register, man, they're trying to give you a credit card because they know the statistics behind, okay, if we can get you this credit card, we really don't care if you go in debt or not. And some of these are backed by Christian business owners that so-called believe what's in the book. And it's like, man, I think about it. I think about early in my early 20s, probably about 21. Man, I remember going to Burlington's one time to get some clothes to go out and party, man, and I swiped that credit card. And let me tell you something. If you're not content with what you have and you're not making it stretch, man, you will own nothing, down to the shoes on your feet, down to the clothes on your back. You got to understand, when you go to Old Navy and you're buying your kids clothes for school or whatnot, man, them kids is going to school with finance clothes. And a lot of the clothes, like this is a lot of stuff we got to look into. See, you can get sucked in as a parent to buying your kid a new backpack every year. Listen to what I'm saying. Every year, a new backpack. You start to think like, wait a minute, giving all these $50, $60 backpacks to Goodwill and they're in great condition. Heck no. We're going to run this backpack back again. We're going to run it back. And it's a lot of stuff you got to look at like that. You look at some of these clothes. Your kids got these clothes. They still good. They still fit. Man, keep wearing them. Forget how old they are. It's still working. You got to think, like I said, I got a hammer that I've had this hammer for good 10 years. Still working. Don't nobody care about how old it is. Better make what you got stretch, make it last in these last days. We're on a daily basis, man. We're seeing price increases that are, 3xing the increase that you're getting on your paycheck. That's why, in this new segment I'm going to be talking about doing business righteously in order to set yourself free, set your family free, giving you some tips and pointers and things like that. But even in business, man, every time we need something, I'm always shopping around for the best deals. I'm thinking about, getting to the point where I'm not doing no shopping unless I got the cash for it. Bottom line. Because if you're shopping and trying to buy and you don't have the cash for it, how you going to get it? The other option is debt. And we're trying to, as I said, come out from among them. It's not easy, but it can be done where you have, the desire and the will to try to obey what's in the book. But yeah, make what you got stretch, make it last. And oftentimes when you feel like something's not good enough, that's generally not fact-based. It's not based upon logic and reason. It's based upon your feelings and emotions. So if you can combat that right there, man, you'll have done yourself a great service. Man, thank you for tuning into this one as I ate my lunch and dropped some game with you. Hope you guys have a blessed day, a blessed week. Closer to y'all ministries, kicking that thing gun barrel straight.